These are the 15 cheapest Chinese motorcycles you can buy in 2025 and 2026. Some of them will make you seriously question why anyone still pays full price for a Japanese or European bike. So which machine sits at number 1, and does it actually beat bikes that cost 3 times the price? Stay with us, because the countdown starts right now. Bike number 15, Kove 450 Rally. Price $9,299. Let's start with a bike that has absolutely no right to exist at this price. The Kove 450 Rally is a fully street legal, fully plated, rally raid motorcycle built on real Dakar rally experience, and it costs $9,299. The KTM 450 Rally replica, which does a comparable job, starts at over $25,000. Kove built the same machine derived from actual competition hardware and priced it at less than a third of that. Not a watered-down version, not a look-alike, the real deal. What does your $9,299 buy? KYB upside down, front forks with 305 millimeters of wheel travel. A KYB rear monoshock with 300 millimeters of travel. A 449 cubic centimeter, liquid-cooled, double overhead camshaft, single producing 50 horsepower, and a dry weight of just 145 kilograms, achieved through magnesium alloy, carbon fiber, and aerospace-grade aluminum throughout. It comes with electronic fuel injection, a full digital dashboard, turn signals, mirrors, and a headlight. Fully street legal, fully trail capable. Cycle News completed 130 miles of mixed dirt and pavement testing and described it plainly: true rally capability at an affordable price. Enduro 21 called it a gateway to the rally raid world at a price that had no previous equivalent anywhere on the planet. This is the kind of machine that resets what you think is possible at a given price. And if Kove can deliver this at number 15, you have to ask yourself, what is waiting further up the list? Bike number 14, CFMoto 675SS, priced at $7,999. Number 14 is the bike that should be keeping European sport bike brand managers awake at night. The CFMoto 675SS is an inline 3-cylinder sport bike, CFMoto's first ever triple, producing a confirmed 95 horsepower at 11,000 RPM with 51.6 pound-feet of torque. The price is $7,999. Let that sit for a second, because the numbers that follow make it even more uncomfortable for the competition. The Aprilia RS 660 parallel twin 100 horsepower costs $11,999. That is $4,000 more. The Yamaha R7 parallel twin 73 horsepower costs $9,699. That is $1,700 more and 22 horsepower less. The Triumph Daytona 660, a triple with 95 horsepower, the same specification as the CFMoto, costs $10,995. $3,000 more for the identical power output and cylinder count. The 675SS also arrives with KYB-tuned, fully adjustable inverted front forks, a preload and rebound adjustable rear monoshock, traction control, ride modes, an upshift quick shifter, and an assist and slipper clutch. Top Speed named it the most powerful sports bike under $10,000 available today. At $7,999, this is the most disruptive Chinese sport bike on the market right now. But if you think that is something, wait until you see what is coming next, because number 13 is a genuine first for Chinese motorcycling. Bike number 13, Zontes ZT703-F, is approximately 7,999 pounds in the UK, or approximately $9,000. It is brand new, technically fascinating, and it represents something that has never been done before in Chinese motorcycling. The Zontes ZT703-F is powered by an entirely new 699 cubic centimeter triple cylinder engine, producing 95 horsepower at 10,000 revolutions per minute. Zontes designed and built this engine from scratch, not borrowed, not a clone, not a joint venture hand-me-down. An original inline 3, making the ZT703-F the first Chinese motorcycle to bring a triple cylinder platform to the mainstream global market. Why does that matter? Because the Inline 3 is the most characterful engine configuration in motorcycling. It is the formula behind the Triumph Speed Triple, the Yamaha MT-09, and the MV Agusta Brutale 800, bikes that riders describe as the most engaging machines they have ever ridden. Zontes has now brought that same engine philosophy to a price that undercuts every rival in the segment. At approximately £7,999 in the UK, it sits directly against the Yamaha MT-07 at £8,699 and the Kawasaki Z650 at £7,999. The Yamaha makes 73 horsepower, the Kawasaki makes 67, the Zontes makes 95. UK deliveries began in 2025. This is not a concept. You can walk into a dealership and ride one home today. And the bike that follows it on this list proves that the value story runs all the way from performance machines like this down to some of the most surprisingly well-equipped sport bikes in the entry-level class. Bike number 12, CFMoto 450SS. Price $5,699. Number 12 is the bike that makes experienced sport bike riders do a double take when they hear the price. The CFMoto 450SS is a fully fared sport bike with aerodynamic bodywork and integrated downforce winglets, powered by a 449 cubic centimeter parallel twin producing 50 horsepower. The front brake caliper is a Brembo M40 4-piston unit. That is the same caliper specification used on Italian supersport motorcycles that sell for $12,000 and above. Upside-down forks, dual-channel ABS, and an upshift quickshifter complete the package. Cycle World places it in direct competition with the Kawasaki Ninja 400, the Yamaha R3, and the Aprilia RS 457. Reviewers at 4Riders magazine described the parallel twin as surprisingly responsive and called the overall package completely confounding relative to the price. Brembo M40 calipers on a $5,699 sport bike. That still does not feel real. For first-time sport bike buyers, track day regulars on a budget, or anyone who wants the look and performance of a middleweight Italian sport bike without the price tag, there is genuinely nothing else on the market that competes with this. And the next bike takes that same value philosophy and drops it straight into the adventure segment. Bike number 11, Voge DS625X, £5,999, approximately $7,100. Number 11 is making the Kawasaki Versys 650 and the Suzuki V-Strom 650 look like embarrassingly overpriced holdovers from a different era. The Voge DS625X is a parallel twin middleweight adventure bike powered by a 581 cubic centimeter engine with a 270-degree crank, producing 63 horsepower and 57 newton meters of torque. UK price, £5,999 on the road. Bennett's Insurance tested it in 2025 and confirmed the obvious: the closest Japanese rivals, the Versys 650 and the V-Strom 650, both cost approximately £2,000 more. Visor Down described it as delivering much of the appeal of a larger adventure bike in a middleweight package that looks far fresher than its aging rivals. Auto Trader UK asked the most uncomfortable question possible for Kawasaki and Suzuki marketing departments after riding it: why would you pay more for a middleweight adventure bike? The DS625X comes with 2 ride modes, a full TFT display, a 17.6-liter tank, an assistant slipper clutch, and dual-channel ABS. A full 3-box aluminum luggage set is available for just £499 extra, a price that makes accessory costs on European and Japanese rivals look absurd. This is the best value parallel twin adventure bike in the world at this price. The one coming up next strips everything back to a pure naked, and the result is just as devastating for the competition. Bike number 10, CFMoto 450NK, approximately $5,399. Number 10 strips everything back to a pure aggressive naked bike, and the result is one of the most value competitive motorcycles on the planet under $5,500. The CFMoto 450NK shares its 449 cubic centimeter, 270-degree crank, parallel twin with the 450 MOT, producing 50 horsepower and 39 newton meters of torque with a claimed 0 to 100 kilometers per hour time of approximately 5 seconds. For that money, you receive a 5-inch TFT display, Brembo brakes, upside-down forks, dual-channel ABS, a slipper clutch, traction control, and LE, D-lighting throughout. Stack that against its direct rivals, the KTM 390. Duke costs $6,999. The Honda CB 500F costs $7,199. And the Kawasaki Z400 costs $5,699. The CFMoto matches or beats the specification of every single one at a lower or equal price. An Australian reviewer who put real road miles on the 450NK was blunt. He could not argue with a lot of factors about this bike, particularly the price, brand new, undercutting the market by a meaningful amount. Multiple independent reviewers on YouTube noted that the 270-degree crank firing order produces an engaging V-twin-like sound and feel that is genuinely surprising at this price point. If you enjoy this video, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Bike number 9, CFMoto 450MT, 5,699 pounds, approximately $6,500. Number 9 has done more than any other single motorcycle to shift the mainstream conversation about Chinese bikes in the UK and European press. The CFMoto 450MT is a middleweight adventure tourer built around a 449.5 cubic centimeters parallel twin with a 270-degree crankshaft. The hardware list is serious. KYB fully adjustable upside-down front forks, a KYB fully adjustable rear monoshock, a Brembo J. Huan 4-piston front caliper, a 320mm front disc, a TFT display, and dual-channel ABS. UK price is £5,699. Visor Down gave it a seriously good value verdict after a real-world UK test covering motorways, country roads, dual carriageways, and off-road trails. Enduro 21 described it as a gateway to the adventure world that checks most boxes for a fraction of the price of a comparable KTM. The 450MT is a 2-license compliant, straight from the factory at 41.57 horsepower, weighs just 175 kilograms, and delivers over 500 kilometers of range from its 17.5-liter tank. The direct price comparison is ruthless. The Honda NX500 costs approximately £7,699. The Yamaha Tenere 700 costs £10,599. The CFMoto undercuts the Honda by £2,000 and the Yamaha by nearly £5,000. This is the bike that proved Chinese motorcycles had genuinely arrived in the European mainstream. And the one coming up next has been earning 11 out of 10 reviews from the independent press, which tells you everything you need to know. Bike number 8, the Voge 525AC, a mid-weight retro scrambler, is priced at approximately $4,499 to $5,299. It is the retro naked that nobody outside the Chinese motorcycle enthusiast community was talking about until the independent reviews started landing. The Voge 525AC is a street scrambler powered by a 494 cubic centimeters parallel twin producing 53.1 horsepower with a 270-degree crank rephase, giving it the characterful vibration signature that makes modern parallel twins feel alive rather than clinical. Voge was founded in 2018 as the premium subsidiary of Leoncino, one of China's largest manufacturers, and the UK importer MotoGP has built a genuine dealer and warranty network around the brand. Helmet Head magazine gave the 525AC an 11 out of 10 in published testing. They described it as the motorcycle that is changing everything you thought you knew about Chinese motorcycles, and praised its jaw-dropping performance, stunning design, and unbeatable price. An 11 out of 10 from an independent reviewer with no obligation to say anything of the kind. For a retro naked with a 490+ cubic centimeters parallel twin at this price, that kind of enthusiasm from the independent press is telling. The next bike takes a completely different direction, and it is one of the most beautiful 125 cubic centimeter motorcycles ever designed. Bike number 7, the Benelli Leoncino 125. Price approximately £2,799, or approximately $3,200. Number 7 is not about outright power or track-ready hardware. It is about what a motorcycle can look like at £2,799. The Benelli Leoncino 125 is a neo-retro, scrambler-style, 125cc bike and it is arguably the most beautifully designed entry-level motorcycle available at any price from any manufacturer anywhere in the world. Leoncino means little lion in Italian, and Benelli's design team has poured real Italian heritage into this Chinese-built machine. It competes directly against the Honda CB125R and the Kawasaki Z125 Pro on style, and beats both on price. Lexum Insurance included it in their top 10 best 125cc Chinese motorcycles for 2025, highlighting its stunning looks and competitive pricing as standout attributes. On a showroom floor, it looks like a retro Italian motorcycle priced at £5,000. On the tag, it says £2,799. For first-time riders, for returners who want something stylish and manageable, or for anyone looking for a beautiful second bike for short city runs, this is almost impossible to argue against. The next bike on the list moves in a completely different direction, and it carries a badge that will surprise you. Bike number 6 is the Haojue DR300, priced at approximately $3,500 to $3,800. Number 6 proves something important. Even Suzuki trusts a Chinese factory to build their motorcycles. The Haojue DR300 is produced by Changzhou Haojue Suzuki Motorcycle, a joint venture between Suzuki's motorcycle division and the Haojue Group. In China, it is also sold under the Suzuki GSX S300 badge. Same bike, two names. Underneath the bodywork sits a 298cc liquid-cooled twin-cylinder, single overhead cam engine producing 29.23 PS at 8,500 revolutions per minute. It is a genuine twin-cylinder naked street fighter at a price that would normally buy you a budget single in Western markets. It wears KYB Golden upside-down front forks, a 7-step preload adjustable rear monoshock, dual-channel Bosch, ABS, full LED lighting, USB charging, and backlit switchgear to round out the package. The Haojue DR300 launched in China at a price equivalent to approximately $4,500, with gray import versions increasingly available in European enthusiast communities. Suzuki does not attach its name to products it does not believe in. That partnership tells you exactly what the quality level is. And the next bike on the list is one of the most visually striking machines in the whole category, with an engine specification that simply should not be possible at this price. Bike number 5, Zontes 350R, approximately $3,999 to $4,500. Number 5 is one of the most visually aggressive machines on this entire list. Its engine specification is genuinely impressive for the displacement class. The Zontes 350R is a Street Fighter-styled naked bike that draws visual inspiration from the Kawasaki Z900, and it houses a 348 cubic centimeter double overhead cam, liquid-cooled, single-cylinder engine that produces 38.2 horsepower at 9,500 revolutions per minute. For a 348 cubic centimeter single, 38 horsepower is outstanding. That comes from a 12.3:1 compression ratio, a double overhead cam 4-valve head, and fuel injection tuned for maximum top-end performance. Bike Whale confirmed the figure and noted that it rivals many parallel twin motorcycles at similar or higher displacement. To put that in context, the Honda CB300R produces 30.4 horsepower. The Kawasaki Z400 produces 44 horsepower from 399 cubic centimeters. The Zontes 350R sits directly between them in power output and costs significantly less than either. A 43mm telescopic front fork, dual-channel ABS, and a 15-liter tank complete the package. A YouTube test rider who rode the 2025 model described it as a perfect street fighter with surprising aggression from a small displacement single. At under $4,500, this is the most aggressive-looking small displacement Chinese bike available today. But the next one takes the value argument somewhere else entirely. Spec for spec, it embarrasses bikes costing $6,000 or more. Bike number 4, CFMoto 300NK, is where the phrase budget Chinese bike stops being a fair description, and the only honest framing becomes outrageous value. It arrives at $4,199 with a specification sheet that would embarrass motorcycles costing considerably more from Japanese manufacturers. It is powered by a 292 cubic centimeter double overhead camshaft liquid cooled single, with Bosch electronic fuel injection, a 5-inch TFT full-color touchscreen. Upside-down front forks, Continental dual-channel ABS, a steel trellis frame, a slipper clutch, LED lighting front and rear, aluminum alloy wheels, a 6-speed transmission, and a 2-year factory warranty, matching the warranty length on some full-price Japanese bikes and beating the typical 1-year cover on most budget machines. The 300NK weighs 333 pounds and sits at a 795mm seat height that makes it accessible for a wide range of riders. Cycle World described it as a bike that delivers great performance, sleek design, and modern features in an affordable, lightweight, naked package perfect for new riders and commuters. For the 2026 model year, CFMoto's global dealer network now exceeds 3,000 locations worldwide, meaning parts and service support, the traditional objections to Chinese bike ownership, are being answered one dealership at a time. The next entry on the list takes a completely different approach, smaller, cheeky, and with a name that is literally a joke at Honda's expense. Bike number 3 is the CFMoto Papio CL and Papio SS, priced at $3,299. Number 3 is one of the most fun and most deliberately cheeky entries in the budget mini bike category. The CFMoto Papio debuted as CFMoto's direct challenge to the Honda Grom, and the name is literally a joke at Honda's expense. Papio is the scientific genus name for baboons, a deliberate play on Honda's famous monkey bike. CFMoto named their Grom rival after the monkey's natural predator. That is a level of confidence that demands respect. The 2025 Papio CL and Papio SS both start at $3,299. That is $300 cheaper than the Honda Grom at $3,599 and $400 cheaper than the Kawasaki Z125 Pro at $3,699. For that money, the Papio delivers a 126cc air-cooled EFI single, a proper 6-speed gearbox compared to the Grom's 5 speeds, ABS disc brakes, full LED lighting, and an LCD display. The Papio SS takes the cafe racer direction with clip-on handlebars and a quarter fairing that makes it look like a scaled-down Italian sport bike. A long-term owner in Baltimore confirmed out the door pricing of approximately $4,500 versus roughly $5,000 for a Grom. Cycle World names the Papio the more affordable choice without compromise. Honda Grom rival, 6 speeds instead of 5, $300 less, and a name that mocks the competition. Hard to argue with that. And the bike coming in at number 2 is the world's most affordable, water-cooled, fully fared, 6-speed sport bike, and most Western riders have never even heard of it. Bike number 2, the Lifan KPR200, an affordable, fully fared sport bike, is priced approximately between $2,899 and $3,299. Number 2 has been quietly building a devoted global fan base in markets that Western enthusiast media rarely covers, including Bangladesh, Pakistan, Southeast Asia, and selected European markets. The Lifan KPR200 is a fully fared, water-cooled, 198 cubic centimeter sport bike. It has a 6-speed gearbox, 17 horsepower, LED lighting, front and rear disc brakes, and a digital instrument cluster. It starts at under $3,300. Lifan is one of the largest motorcycle manufacturers in China, with an official presence in around 117 countries since 2007. The KPR200 is the evolution of their championship-winning KPR series, a line that has reportedly taken 17 out of 18 RC competition appearances. The second-generation engine, introduced in 2019, brought a significantly improved crankshaft, an updated gearbox, and revised clutch placement that addressed early reliability criticisms head-on. TBS News described it as the sport bike that does it all, praising its combination of competitive pricing, LED technology, and 6-speed performance spec. For riders who want a fully fared, water-cooled, 6-speed sport bike for under $3,300, there is nothing else in this price range from any manufacturer, Japanese, European, or otherwise. The KPR200 exists in a category of one. But the bike at number 1 takes the concept of value even further. and it does so with a pedigree you would never expect at this price point. And here it is, the #1 cheapest Chinese motorcycle on this list, the Benelli TNT135. It is priced at approximately $2,699 in the United States, where the Honda Grom starts at $3,599. The Benelli TNT135 is $900 cheaper than its most famous rival, and it arrives with a specification sheet that makes that price gap even harder to understand. Benelli is Chinese-owned. Qianjiang Group acquired the brand, which means everything carrying a Benelli badge today is designed and built in China. The TNT135 is Benelli's answer to the Honda Grom and the Kawasaki Z25 Pro, and it shows up to that fight with noticeably better hardware. Where the Grom uses a 125 cubic centimeter 2-valve, air-cooled, 4-speed engine, the TNT135 responds with a 135 cubic centimeter 4-valve, oil-cooled, twin-spark, 5-speed motor producing 13 horsepower. That is a more advanced technical specification at a lower price. Add a 41mm inverted upside-down front fork, a trellis steel frame of the kind found on Italian bikes costing 3 times the price, dual exit exhaust, and fully integrated rear indicators, and the quality of finish genuinely belies the price at every single point. Australian Motorcycle Consumer News described it as a bike where the quality of finish belies its price below $4,000 in every way, and called it everything a low-capacity Chinese-built commuter bike is not. Better engine spec than the Grom, a trellis frame, upside-down forks, twin exhaust, $900 cheaper. That is the #1 cheapest Chinese motorcycle you can buy right now, and it is a genuinely outstanding machine. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next one.